I am a pizza maker and I satisfy the needs of my customers during the order. I will tell you how I created a special order to go unnoticed. Because not only I satisfy the food needs of my customers, but with that special code, I also satisfy other needs in bed. Stay until the end to know this story. So make yourself comfortable, and we invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the little bell so you don't miss any videos. One night, as I adjusted my apron in front of the mirror in the pizzeria's small bathroom, I couldn't help but smile. My job was peculiar, beyond baking pizzas and delivering them. There was something that made me special among the regular customers, a secret code that few knew, but that had transformed my work routine into something I never imagined. It all started a few months ago when a man named Esteban made an unusual request. He was a frequent customer, with a charm that didn't go unnoticed. When he came to pick up his pizza that night, he asked me for something in a roundabout way, as if he was trying his luck. He approached the counter and, with a playful smile, whispered, "Can you put extra pepperoni on it? But you know, the special." At first I didn't quite understand, but something in his look told me he didn't just mean the pizza. I decided to play along, smiling as I nodded. That same night, when I delivered his order, Esteban invited me to stay for a few minutes. He was direct and sincere, something that puzzled me but also intrigued me. He confessed that he had been watching me during his visits, that he had noticed the way I was, and although he feared I would reject him, he wanted to give it a try. What happened next marked the beginning of something I had never planned. He meant another kind of need. We went to the back of the restaurant and I did it to him. He was satisfied, like never before. Are you liking the video so far? If so, leave us a like and subscribe. Let's keep going. Days went by, and little by little, this code began to circulate among certain clients. At first, I thought it would just be gossip among close friends, but word of mouth was more powerful than I imagined. Every time someone ordered a special pizza with extra pepperoni, I knew it wasn't just about food, but something more personal. It was my decision to accept or not, and although I was always careful not to cross boundaries, the connection I felt with customers was not genuine. My limit was not to fall in love. One particularly eventful evening, I received a request from a man named Julian. It was the first time I had seen his name in our database, but his voice on the phone had a warm, confident tone. "I want the special with extra pepperoni," he said with a barely contained laugh. Something about the way he spoke made me curious. When I arrived at his house, Julian opened the door dressed in a plain t-shirt and pajama pants. His eyes sparkled with a mixture of nervousness and excitement. "First time?" I asked him, wanting to break the ice. He nodded, laughing softly as he invited me in. We sat in his living room, and as the aroma of pizza filled the air, we began to talk. Julian was an art teacher, passionate about painting, and his conversation was fascinating. I felt comfortable, as if I had known him all my life. That night we not only shared a few kisses, but also stories, laughter, and an unexpected connection where I gave him what he was looking for, to give him a good shagging. Over time, my reputation as the special pizza guy grew stronger. However, it wasn't all lovely nights. There were customers who just wanted to take advantage of the code, and I learned to be firm and selective. What I valued most was authenticity. That moment when words were redundant and the connection spoke for itself. I wasn't looking for meaningless physicality. For me, every encounter was a way to meet amazing people, to open myself up to new and enriching experiences. One day, while I was going through the orders at the pizzeria, I got one that would change everything. The customer's name was Mauricio, a young man who had ordered the special with extra pepperoni. The address was a fancy building in the center of town. When I arrived, the first thing I noticed was his intense gaze. He invited me in without hesitation, and as I handed him the pizza, he offered me a soft drink. Before we go on, we invite you to give us a like and subscribe. Let's continue. We sat in his modern dining room and began to talk. Mauricio was an architect, with a sharp mind and a magnetic personality. We spent hours chatting, much more than usual. His confidence and genuine interest disarmed me. That night, more than a client, I found someone with whom I could imagine something more. Our connection didn't stop at that one visit. Mauricio started asking me for the special frequently, but it wasn't just for the pizza. Over time, our relationship evolved, and we discovered that we had much more in common than we expected. Although we kept everything discreet, our encounters became the highlight of my week. One afternoon, as we walked together through the park after closing the pizzeria, Mauricio took my hand. It was a small gesture, but it meant a lot to me. At that moment, I understood that what had started as a funny code had evolved into something much more meaningful. However, it wasn't all easy. The line between my work and my personal life blurred, and there were days when I felt like I was carrying an emotional weight that I couldn't share with anyone. Some colleagues became suspicious, and questions about my growing popularity with certain clients soon followed. I decided to keep my private life to myself, but the pressure was constant. Despite the challenges, I knew that what I had built with Maurizio was real. It was a relationship worth nurturing, even if it meant facing rumors and misunderstandings. Eventually, I decided to step forward and be honest with those who really mattered in my life. I told my closest friends about Mauricio and our story, and to my surprise, they supported me unconditionally. Today, as I reflect on everything that has happened since that night with Esteban, I can't help but smile. I never imagined that my job as a pizza maker would lead me to discover so much about myself and about human connections. What started as a simple code turned into an experience that changed my life forever. Don't forget to subscribe and like us for more content like this. Let's keep going. As I bake a pizza in the pizzeria's small oven, I think of Mauricio, who is surely waiting at home to share it with me. Our love may have been born out of an unusual situation, but it is as real as the aroma of melting cheese. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. That night, as I finished closing the cash register at the pizzeria, my mind couldn't stop wondering about everything that had happened in the last few months. What started as an innocent game with a curious customer had triggered a series of events that, although unpredictable, had led me to meet incredible people and, above all, Mauricio, someone who was now an essential part of my life. There was something special about him, beyond his physical attractiveness or his charisma. It was his way of listening to me, of making me feel seen and valued. Whenever he told me about his architectural projects, his enthusiasm was contagious. And when we talked about my dreams and aspirations, he encouraged me as if they were as important as his own. With him, everything was different. Even the simplest moments, like cooking together in his kitchen or watching a movie on the couch, had a special meaning. However, not everything was perfect. There were nights when the weight of the double life I was leading made me question whether I should continue with the special pizza. Although it had been a unique experience, allowing me to discover more about myself, I also knew that I could not depend on it indefinitely. Mauricio and I began to have serious conversations about my future. He encouraged me to think about what I really wanted to do with my life, to find something I was as passionate about as I was about being with him. One day, while we were talking in his apartment, Mauricio told me something that marked a before and after. Your life is yours, but if you keep dividing your heart between what you do and what you want to be, you will never be completely at peace. His words resonated in me like a constant echo. I decided it was time to take a step forward. I spoke to my boss at the pizzeria and told him I was considering quitting my job. Although I didn't give him details about my motivation, he understood that I needed a change. It was hard to say goodbye to a place that somehow had been the scene of so many important experiences, but I also felt it was the closure I needed to start a new chapter. Mauricio was by my side throughout the whole process. He helped me explore my interests and discover new opportunities. I enrolled in a graphic design course, something that had always caught my attention, but that I had never dared to try. Little by little, I began to realize that there was much more in me than I had imagined, and that the world was full of possibilities waiting to be explored. If you liked the video and this content brought you value, leave us a like and share it with your friends so they don't miss it.